I didn't know we were going to be getting a team up. Check this out.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Cosmic Wonder. I'm your host, Warren Thompson, and today we have a lot of exciting news to talk about that I think fans are going to be really happy to hear about the future of the MCU. Today we'll be talking about a Spider-Man and Daredevil team-up in the MCU that was teased by Marvel Studios' president Kevin Feige himself. He also talked about how Secret Wars is going to be bigger than Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, but also how they are going to be different and how Kang is going to be different than Thanos, and how we're going to get big team-up films before the Avengers films come out, and this could include Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Looks like Ant-Man 3 is going to be a big semi-Avengers team-up film, and could possibly even introduce the Fantastic Four or the Young Avengers. And to top it all off, Kevin Feige has actually came out and defined the different areas of the MCU like we have been talking about for a very long time. So, like I said, lots of exciting things to talk about, so if you're new, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest MCU news. Now, the first thing that we have to talk about, because it is just so exciting, is Spider-Man and Daredevil. It looks like they are finally going to be teaming up in the MCU. I'm sure most everybody is aware, but if you are not, at San Diego Comic-Con, Marvel Studios announced that they are indeed rebooting Daredevil. And Charlie Cox is coming back, of course, to play Matt Murdock, and Kingpin is, of course, going to be played by the one and only Vincent D'Onofrio. That's right, the original Daredevil and the original Kingpin from the Netflix series are coming to the MCU. Now, as far as the continuity between the Netflix world and the MCU, it's still a little bit unclear. We don't know if these are the exact same characters from that exact same world. Based off of everything that we've heard so far, they kind of are the same, except the stories are going to just be changed a little bit. Now, it is called Daredevil Born Again, and while this could be a nod to the fact that they are kind of rebooting the character from the Netflix series and he's going to be new in the MCU, it is also a Marvel Comics graphic novel written by Frank Miller. Now, in the comics, the Daredevil Born Again story arc is kind of about Daredevil becoming insane and struggling to build a new life for himself. And we'll see this in 18 different episodes, and that's really exciting on its own. But if you consider the fact that Spider-Man might actually show up in the series, it gets even more exciting. And of course, Daredevil could show up in the Spider-Man films as well. Now, here's what Kevin Feige recently had to say after San Diego Comic-Con when speaking to MTV.
And as you start to see, you talk about Ghost Rider, we've got Blade, we've got Doctor Strange, we've got the supernatural angles, we've got the street level with our announcement of Daredevil, and of course Spidey going into the street level heroes and Cosmic. And that's where our friends Eros get to live.
So here Kevin Feige was describing the different sides of the MCU. Then he says we have Daredevil going into the street level, and then Spidey is going into the street level as well. This is a huge hint that Spider-Man and Daredevil are going to team up in the future, which makes perfect sense. This happens plenty of times in the comics, and everybody pretty much loves it. Also, not to mention, Kingpin is about to be in the MCU in Daredevil Born Again. Kingpin is a major Spider-Man villain, of course, along with Daredevil, but I think everybody assumes that now it is only a matter of time until Spider-Man runs into Kingpin, and since Daredevil is going to be dealing with Kingpin first, it looks like a team-up is definitely in our future, hopefully very soon. Now, in the same interview, Kevin Feige has actually teased that we are going to start to see a lot more team-ups before our big Avengers films. Take a look here.
And certainly after Infinity War and Endgame, that we thought Avengers movies aren't cappers. So many of our movies now, the Multiverse of Madness, what you're about to see in Quantumania, are big team-up films, introducing big parts of the mythology, and that Avengers films really should be the capper to a saga, which is really all we wanted to lay the groundwork for today, is say, we are currently in the midst of the Multiverse saga, which will culminate into Avengers films.
So he teases other team-up films like we got in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, and then he says like we're about to see in Ant-Man 3. So more than just Ant-Man and the Wasp, and this actually makes sense because it's been revealed that MODOK is going to be a villain of Ant-Man 3 as well, along with Kang. So, who is going to be joining Ant-Man and the Wasp in Ant-Man 3? Now, who could be joining Ant-Man? Well, rumors have been going around for a while that Marvel Studios might introduce the Fantastic Four in Ant-Man 3. Kevin Feige has just recently revealed that the Fantastic Four movie is not going to be a typical origin story. Could the fact that the new Fantastic Four film isn't going to be an origin story be due to the fact that we could be seeing the Fantastic Four earlier on in the MCU? With Ant-Man 3 really exploring the quantum realm and perhaps the Fantastic Four maybe even getting their powers from the quantum realm, in the MCU that is, it may be that the Fantastic Four could actually be the ones teaming up with Ant-Man to go against King the Conqueror and MODOK. After all, the team of the Fantastic Four are scientists, and they could very well be working with Hank Pym to study the quantum realm. The Fantastic Four have spent plenty of time in the negative zone in the comics, and the MCU could be viewing the quantum realm as sort of another negative zone as well. So there is a possibility that the Fantastic Four could show up and team up with Ant-Man, the Wasp, and everybody else in Ant-Man 3. Now, of course, the other possibility, which kind of seems likely at this point, is a team-up with some young Avengers. Now, we already know that Scott Lang's daughter, Cassie Lang, is going to be Stature. She is about to be a hero in the MCU, and they've already actually teased her in the very first poster that we got for Ant-Man 3 during SDCC. And this might actually be the team-up, just Scott Lang with the Wasp and his daughter, Stature. And of course, I'm assuming Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne are a part of the team as well. Because keep in mind, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness was a team-up film, according to Kevin Feige, and it was, but it really only involved one team and then one other person. The team of the Sorcerers and America Chavez, and then the Scarlet Witch. And it really wasn't a team-up. They were enemies. So the team-up might not be that big. I would love for the Fantastic Four to be in Ant-Man 3, but I'm assuming it's going to set up the Young Avengers with Stature and probably one or a couple of more Young Avengers. Now the good news is that Kevin Feige has essentially confirmed that Secret Wars is going to be bigger than Avengers Infinity War and Endgame. He said that we are going to have these team-up films that lead up to these huge Avengers films that will always end a saga. So we're not going to have a new Avengers film every couple of years now, every few years. We're only going to have really big Avengers films that end sagas entirely. And that's why Kevin Feige is saying that we're going to have all these other kind of mini Avengers films where we see a bunch of heroes team up before Avengers movies. But Kevin Feige confirmed in an interview that due to the sheer fact that we now have all of these Disney Plus shows and are able to introduce a lot more new characters per year, the new Avengers movies, The Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, are going to naturally be bigger than Avengers Infinity War and Endgame because there are a lot more characters. And Endgame had a lot of characters, but Secret Wars is also going to have variants. So, as we all know, there are going to be a ton of heroes and some of the same heroes, just different variants, in one film. But before we get to that, Kevin Feige has defined the areas of the MCU. I have actually been talking about this for a pretty long time. I have described the supernatural side, the earthly side, and the cosmic side, and for the most part I was right, except Kevin Feige calls the earthly side the street side. He has said that we have the supernatural side, the street side, and then the cosmic side. And when he mentioned the supernatural side, he even mentioned Ghost Rider. And with that big tease of Donnie Blaze, not Johnny Blaze, but Donnie Blaze in the new She-Hulk trailer, it does seem like Ghost Rider is upon us.
So
Hopefully
who's Donnie
soon,
Blaze?
but in the meantime, it looks like the MCU is going to have plenty of exciting projects. Let me know what you're most excited for in the comments down below. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to stay up to date on all things MCU.
So tell me who Donnie Blaze is.
Instagram and Twitter. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.
Who is Donnie Blaze? Getting a Instagram. Okay, that's a dog. that's who it is. Oh, so are they changing the name from Johnny to Donnie? Like, what's going on here with that? But I am definitely down for the team up between Daredevil and Spider-Man. That'll be fun. Now, if I could just get my Hulk versus Wolverine, I'll be a happy man. 10 million subscribers, baby. Woo!